Hello, this is Catherine Matthews. I'm the Director of Assessment and Research at Everett Public Schools, and today I'm going to be demonstrating for you how to build a baseball card report. Today I'm starting on a principal dashboard. If you're a teacher, you will actually start on a dashboard that looks slightly different. It will have all of your students rather than data about the school on it, but either way, it's the same basic principle and the steps are all the same. All right, so on our left-hand menu here is the report menu, and you can see there are a variety of reports. I encourage you to explore all of them, but I do think that the top three are probably the most important three: the baseball card, scoreboard, and student item analysis. There is a video on our website about student item analysis, and will be one on scoreboard as well. Today we'll focus on this baseball card. By the way, the difference between the baseball card and the scoreboard is that the baseball card really starts with individual students, and then you can aggregate it if you want to do a deeper analysis of a class or a school. The scoreboard starts with the organization and you can drill down to the student. All right, so our first step is to go to this report menu and click on the word baseball card. This is going to take you to a page that has all of the students you are assigned to through menu security. So what that means is that since I'm a principal, I can see my whole school. If I were a teacher, I would only see the students who are assigned to my class or classes. The nice thing about this is that after you build a report, you can share it with other staff members using this share link. I'll demonstrate it after we build the report as well. And when you share it, there's no chance that private data will be improperly shared, because only when you open up the link, you will only see the students that you have been assigned to in the security of the program. All right, so first thing that you're seeing here, of course, is all of your students. This particular person has 779 students assigned to them. We have a filter button. Remember, filters are something that keeps students either in or out of the display. So if we filter for boys, only boys will show up. And we'll look at these filters in depth. We also have a manage columns button, and when we click on that, we can add information about the student. For example, we could put their grade in. We could put their special ed status, SWP. We could put their teacher or their class. I'm just going to put those two things in so that you can see. Now we have a grade level and a special education status, yes or no. So the difference between the filter and the columns is we have the information about the demographic here, yes or no, but we have both. If this were a filter, instead of just using the managed columns, we're going to either add or remove students. So I'm going to click on this add a filter button and just demonstrate for you. If I go to students with disabilities on the demographic tab and I say yes, and I hit apply, now every single student in this list is a special education student. So I have filtered out the no's. I'm going to get rid of that. And then again, this column, which comes from the manage columns section, it shows both and gives you the measure for that, just like the grade level. We could filter for one or more grades, and then we would only see those grades. All right. I'm going to also add in here in the manage column teacher. And I'm adding teacher because I want you to see what happens here. It's a little bit difficult to see, but These first 6 lines are the same student, different teacher names. So when we put the teacher name in, we have to remember that it is going to multiply the student lines of data by how many teachers they have. And so this is where that filter really comes in handy. I'm going to click on the Add Student filter, and this time I'm going to go to the Geographic tab, and I'm going to click on Course Type, and I'm going to say Homeroom Elementary. So elementary students in the SIS, in the Student Information System, have 6 classes, but they have 1 homeroom teacher. Now each student is just 1 line of data, okay? And again, the reason that we put this filter up is we decided we wanted to see a teacher's name, but we don't want to see all 6. All right. Okay, so on the other side here on the left, you see a number of folders, and those folders all contain information only about the students who are in this data set. So if I were looking at high school students, then I would see a folder for the SAT, the PSAT, advanced placement scores. If I were looking at middle school, I would also see middle school course grades. So as soon as you sign in to the system, these folders are already being filtered by the students assigned to you. I happen to pick a elementary principal. So elementary students, so only data that refers to elementary students. Does that make sense? And then as I start to filter, these folders become greater or lesser, so to speak. So I'm going to add a filter. Notice all of these folders that are available at the top: state assessments, iReady, early warning system for 21-22. I'm going to add a filter, and that filter is going to be for current grade. And right now when I'm creating this, the year is 2023, so I'm filtering for students who are in kindergarten in 2023. Watch what happens to the folders on the left side when I select only kindergartners. So now we only have about half of the number of columns. Why is that? Because if you're in kindergarten in 2023, you might not have any data for 2022. You might only have some data for 2023. I'm going to open up the early warning indicators, and I suspect, yeah, we only have 5, and that means that's probably the TK students, the transitional kindergarten, who are here in 22 in preparation. All the other kindergartners were here in 23, and we can see some of their early warning indicators. Kindergartners generally don't have too many early warning indicators. These are the things that we would be looking out for with students: how many absences, state testing, how many times they were enrolled in different schools during the year, and whether or not there were multiple warnings. All right. So when we filter for kindergarten, these are the folders that we have. I'm going to switch that. So I'm going to open up my filter, and I'm going to switch it just to grades 3, 4, and 5, because I want to see students who have some assessment scores. And I'm going to go ahead and take out SWD and teacher just to make this easier to see on this screen. And know that you can always add those back in, even after you start adding data. All right, so a question that I have is, How are my students doing in English language arts, specifically reading, but I also want to include writing through the Smarter Balanced Assessment. All right, so here's all the data that is available to me. Notice that there are two state assessment folders. One is by test, the other is by subject. So let's see how that looks differently. I'm going to open up the ELA test. I'm going to open up the Smarter Balanced ELA. So in this file, we see each year. In this file, we see the years tacked onto the score. It is the exact same data. It just depends on how you want to see it. All right. Now I have third, fourth, and fifth graders here. So I want to see both years. Obviously the third graders won't have a 21, 22, but they will have a 22, 23. So I want to see the scale score and the achievement level. So I'm going to click on scale score 21, 22, achievement level 21, 22, scale score 22, 23, achievement score 22, 23. Now, right off the bat, what I love about this is the color coding. For the state assessments, level 1 is red, level 2 is yellow, level 3 is green, and level 4 is blue. And if I wanted to just get an idea of how students are improving and or not improving, I could sort this A to Z, and I can see all my level 1s here. And look at how obvious it is who jumped up a level. So I've got some kids here who went from level 1 to 2, level 1 to 3. Here are my 2s. We even have some 2s who went to 4. I could make this easier to see even if I started by sorting this A to Z, and then I came over here and sorted this A to Z. Oops, A to Z. Now notice all my 1s are together, all my 2s are together, all my 3s are together. So it's very easy for me to see who are those students. And also who are the students who are going backwards that I should be concerned about. Got some kids going backwards there. All right. Now, one other thing that's available is the Smarter Balanced Index Score. And it is under additional assessments, but I just want to demonstrate that you can write in the box a word, and it will filter down for that word. So I'm going to pull in the index score for 22 and 23. And I'm going to leave them next to each other. But obviously this column 5 belongs with 1 and 2, and 3 and 4 belong with 6. So what I like about this measure is that it tells me if students are improving, even if they're not meeting standard. So the index gives you the level, that's the whole number, and then the fraction of a level that the student has been through in that range. So this person's a 1.93. They are 93% through level 3 or level 1, and they're very close, right? I'm going to sort this A to Z. All right. So this student was a 1.85, so 85% of the way through the level 1 range. And then this year they're a 3.77. So they have jumped almost 2 levels. Now, notice that we have some students who are below standard. This student is a 1.52. They jumped to a 1.61. So I know they're a little bit closer. Not much, but a little bit. And see if I can find a good example for you here. Here's an example of a student Here's a 2.17 that went to 2.5 and a 2.18 that went to 2.76. So we can see both of these students made a little bit more progress. They're getting closer to being at standard. All right. So here I have my students' names, their grade level. I can look at their scale scores. But what I'm really worried about is I'm worried about the kids who did not meet standard in 23. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get rid of, by unchecking the green and blue, I'm going to get rid of the kids who met standard in 23. So I uncheck these and then I apply swatching. Now my 402 students are 119 students. So these are all the students that did not meet standard. Some of them had been at standard in 122. They're not at standard now. All right. So I feel like we need more information about these students. So I'm going to go ahead over here and I'm going to write ready in the search bar, and I'm going to look at their reading iReady scores. So I'm going to pick the fall to winter scores just so I can get an idea, like where did they start in the fall and where did they end up in the winter. So the first thing is I'm going to take their overall scale score 2023 fall and their overall placement 2023 fall. So notice scale score and placement. I like them both because the scale scores are color coded, but the placements tell me, you know, where were they? So for example, this first child is a 5th grader and they came in at a level 2. So this 495 in red tells me it's not good, but that tells me how not good. All right, let's add in spring scale score, spring placement. So now this student went from a level 1 to a level 3. We're going to find out why we're missing a piece of data here. But now I can see a couple of things. I can see where were they in 2022 in their SBA? Where were they in 23? Have they made some growth on the SBA? And now, where are they on their iReady placement? So let's sort this by scale score in the spring. This is where they ended up in the spring. So in the spring, if they were still below standard, that is a concern. Now I want to point out one thing. Notice how some students are red with a 483 and some are yellow with a 483. So I'll show you what's going on here. If we go over here, notice one student is in 4th grade and one is in 3rd. So the computer is properly assigning that color coding system because the scale scores might be the same, but the students aren't in the same grade. So if you're a 4th grader at this, you're in the red. If you're a 4th grader at 483 or 3rd grader at 483, you're in the yellow. So the coloring system is really important. All right. So I want to narrow it down even more and say, you know, who was still not at standard on the spring iReady score, because they might need even more help, right? So I'm going to cross out the kids who are at standard in the spring, apply the swatching. Now my 119 students are 88 students. I'm also going to cross out the students who didn't test on the SBA because we don't really know anything about them. And I really want to look at students that we have hard evidence that they're struggling. So I'm going to go ahead and cross them out. All right. All right. We are down to 74 students that we want to watch. I'm going to sort this by grade level. That'll help me to analyze it a little bit better. Now, perhaps I want to know if any of these students have early warning indicators, because maybe there's something going on that I need to help them with. So I'm going to add in their excused absences and unexcused absences. And I already know there's state testing, but I'm also going to add in mobility, because I want to know who is not here often and who is changing schools a lot, because they're going to need extra support, right? So here I have their attendance. The other thing that I'm concerned about is, how are they really feeling about school? So I'm going to go to additional assessments, and there is just a huge amount of important data in here. You can see their ML progressing scores, oral reading fluency, rapid automized naming, interim scores, their index score, and then we've also loaded their cell scores. So I'm interested in, these kids are not attending, so I want to know about their sense of belonging and their teacher-student relationships. All right. So this is a lot of data. And if I were a principal and I wanted to talk to my staff about these students, one thing that I could do is that I could come up here to the share link, click on this, copy the link, and I could send that out in an email to all of my teachers. And teachers, when they open that link, are only going to see the students who are assigned to them, so scheduled into their classes. So I could sit down and have a conversation about, how will we support these students who did not pass the SBA in 22, or were maybe they were in 3rd grade, did not pass in 23, did not meet standard in the spring and iReady, and now we can see their cell scores, their attendance, and their mobility. And when somebody gets that link, perhaps they are thinking to themselves, I'm just not worried about sense of belonging and teachers. I'm worried about emotional regulation. They could add something to the report, and then they could save their link. And now when you come back to this link, save this link, then you will see this data. Every time you open it, you will see just the students in front of you and just their information. One thing to keep in mind is if you change this report, that original link the principal sent out, that link will still work. You can still open that link, but you won't get the data if you changed it. So when I added this column here, now I have a new link that is specific to this report. And these links do not go away. So if you save them, then you can just go back to your data anytime. So just very quickly, let me show you where to save them. I personally just email them to myself because I usually only use them 1 or 2 times, and I create new reports all the time. But if you want to save them so that you can continually go back and check them, you're going to go to Admin, Shared Report Admin. And you are going to go over here to the right to create a new link. Put your URL that you just collected there. Change the title. And I'm just going to put what's in it. SBA ELA 22 and 23 with fall to spring iReady 23 and cell data. Cell and early warning system data. So now I know what's in it. I wouldn't worry too much about the description box, honestly. You do have to choose the kind of report. It is a baseball card report. And my title is too long. So there we go. So I took out the ands. What is in here that doesn't belong? Title is 50 characters. Let's try that. Probably should practice title making. Okay, ELA, are you ready? All right. So baseball card, there's my URL, there's my shortened title, put a description if I want more information. I'm going to hit save. And now I can either go back and edit the report, or I can click on the permissions button and I could add people. So one thing to keep in mind is that when you write this report and you get the URL and you send it out to people, they already have permission to read it. So permissions are really if you want to give somebody additional permissions with your report. Personally, I don't recommend it. Let's say that we want to give me permission to do some things. I would add me, add group or individual teacher, staff member. This is read only, but if I have the link, I can do that. This update allows me to edit the report. So I would be editing your report. And this admin allows me to edit, delete, and provide permissions. So I never give anybody the admin permission. At the most, I would give them update. All right. So here's our report. And if I gave this report permission to everybody on my staff, I might put in the name of my school and I could put in staff. Where are they going to see it? When they go to their dashboard, and they click on shared reports, there's the report. All they have to do is hit the button and it appears. All right, so baseball card essentially allows you to look at your data for all the students that are assigned to you. It allows you to combine things like state assessment data, local assessment data. We even can include common summative assessment data, which are the tests that are in our curriculum maps that are given in Performance Matters. And this helps us to better understand learning, right? We want to solve the right problem. So if a student is struggling, failing to meet standard in class or on state assessments, we want to look at all factors, right? And this provides us with an opportunity to do so. Now, at the beginning, I said the baseball card is about looking at individual students, but we can aggregate up, okay? So in the manage columns section, if I were to go in here and remove the student's name, notice current grade is still marked. What it's going to do is it's going to aggregate my data based on the grade level. So now I see where there might be some challenges. Maybe some grades are doing better than others. I could switch from grade and add limited English proficiency. Now I'm comparing students of all grade levels. No means not limited English proficiency. That's a East Coast term for multilingual learner. It's an older term. And then there's yes, right? So I can see how students are doing on each of these metrics. I can even combine them. So I could say, I want to know each grade, how they're doing in relationship to yes and no for limited English proficiency. So here are my third graders not in an ML program. Here are my third graders in an ML program. So it's a very powerful tool for analyzing data and identifying either groups of students or areas that they might be struggling in. If you would like more training in this topic, do not hesitate to call Assessment and Research at 4051 or email me, Catherine Matthews. I am happy to work with you and help you to build your first reports so that you can use this more fully to support you in the building and in the classroom. Thank you.